What's up, everybody? Welcome to Livestream. It's good to be with you. It's good to be with you. Oh, the song is by Vengent. Vengent. V-E-N-J-E-N-T. It's linked in the video description. He is a great, great artist. He doesn't do just remixes, but he does original stuff too. Really, really like his drum and bass. It's a good song. Big fan of it. Oh, yes. Welcome to the stream. And you know what else I'm a big fan of? Tonight's the drink of the evening is sparkling ice, coconut, pineapple. If you don't think this is the best sparkling ice drink, the coconut pineapple is so good. And these are like, you drink a soda. A soda is full of sugar, right? It's really sweet. It's full of sugar, a lot of calories. It's like, I don't want to be just drinking sodas. I don't feel like a soda is like a dessert. It's not like a hydrating beverage. You have a diet. I drink a Diet Coke every now and then. You know, if I'm going to drink a Coke, I'll have a Diet Coke. Yeah, it's still pretty sweet. It's kind of weird, chemical tasting, artificial sweetener, you know. And also, it's Diet Coke. And it's full of caffeine too, which, you know, if depending on how you're sensitive to that, you can't have a Diet Coke in the evening. It'll make you stay up all night. You know, so, and sometimes, you know, you cola flavor. You don't want the cola flavor. So, okay. So then you go to the seltzer, the seltzer waters, right? And, okay, but they're not very flavorful, right? But isn't that what you wanted? You wanted just like a water, a hydrating drink that wasn't too sweet. It wasn't too flavorful. And you're like, yeah, but this kind of just tastes like, you know, like you sort of waved a fruit by it. It's the essence of fruit. Maybe could I take the, like, if soda is a 12 on the sweetness chart and seltzer is like a 2, could I just get like a 4? Could I get like a 3 or a 4 instead of a 2 or a 1? Boom. Sparkling ice. Lovely fruit flavors. 0 sugar. What's it sweetened with? What is it sweetened with? I don't know. It's not aspartame, that's for sure. Coconut water concentrate. Gooseberry. Green tea extract. Sucralose. Okay, so it's Splenda. It's sucralose. That's fine. I like sucralose. And it's got some fruit flavor. 5 calories. But, which, I mean, if you're counting calories, great. But, I'm not, like, counting calories. But, like, it means it doesn't have a ton of sugar and and it's just, like, so good. So good. So good. Anyway. No, it's not stevia. Stevia, I don't like the taste of stevia. Okay. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, and they all come in a bottle that looks like this. If you see this bottle, it doesn't matter what name is on there. Yeah, it's good. Not interested in kombucha. I'm sorry. Kombucha, fermented. I'm not opposed to fermented drinks, but kombucha is not my jam. This is not my jam. I'm very sorry, 1337 plans. So that's what we're drinking today. And I got to the end of the case, and because of the way I put it in the fridge, the coconut pineapples were at the back. I got to the end of the case, I reached in to get a drink for the live stream, saw it was a coconut pineapple, and was like, oh, I didn't even know coconut pineapple were in this one. And then I reached in, and guess what? 2 coconut pineapples. So I got another one for later in the stream. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's answer live stream questions. Thank you, Exiled FPV, for a $10 super chat for the new watch fund. Yeah, got to buy me new watches. I showed off a new watch I got yesterday, a Chinese rep watch, a clone watch. I don't have it on today. Today I've got my daily beater watch. Here, if you're interested, this is my daily beater watch. I can do dishes in this watch. I could do yard work. I don't care. I like it. It's attractive, but I don't give a shit if I beat it up. That's what the point of this watch is. Somebody said in the comments, they said, if you are okay buying a clone watch, and it's a counterfeit watch. It's not even like it looks the same, but it doesn't have the brand. It has the brand's name on it. It's a straight rip of an actual Swiss watch. They said if you are okay wearing a cloned watch, then you must be okay with people downloading your videos and like selling them, because that's basically what you're doing. And I said, no. I see where you're going. If I were a watchmaker, see, I'm the content creator. I'm not. I'm the consumer of the watch, right? So the analogy doesn't hold. I'm okay with if you guys go out and you use an ad blocker, which, by the way, I'm not allowed to talk about ad blockers because it violates YouTube's community guidelines. But I think I can acknowledge that ad blockers exist and discourage you from using them. That's against the YouTube terms of service. But I've never complained about people using ad blockers. Yeah, you watch my content. You don't watch the ads. That's between you and YouTube. It's not my business. So, by that logic, I should also be okay with me buying a cloned watch, right? In the same way that I'm okay with you. Now, if somebody was taking my videos and re-uploading them somewhere else and selling them, I would go after that person. But that's the manufacturer going after the cloner, just like the watch companies go after the factories who clone the watches. What I'm getting at is that I'm completely ideologically consistent. I consume cloned counterfeit media without compensating the original creators. And I'm okay with it. Just like I'm okay with you guys. I just am not okay with the people who make it a business. Yeah, so it all adds up. I don't care. Oh, my goodness. Coffee nerds? Yes, coffee nerds. Ooh, I never got into espresso. Espresso's too much trouble. I do AeroPress. That's the amount of trouble I'm willing to go to for my coffee. The problem is if I got into espresso, then I would not enjoy coffee anymore because my palate would be too refined. And I'm not willing to do that. Thank you for the donation, Exiled FPV. Are you going to upgrade Betaflight to 2025.12 4.6 right away on release? I never do that. What I would do is, if there's a killer feature in 4.6 that I wanted, like the GPS rescue, then the first time I build a quad that uses that feature, I will install it. But I would never go back and like reflash all my old drones because it's just too much trouble. And half the time you take a working drone and you make it into a non-working drone. So I wouldn't bother. No. But I'm not afraid of it. I'm not like holding out. I'm just not in a rush to like borrow trouble. What sucks? It's Blunty. Kilo Foxtrot says that sucks. Did something go? Is there bad news, Blunty? I hate somebody says that sucks. It's Blunty.
Yeah, we're just discussing the algorithm stuff.
Oh. Hey, I have a question for you about the algorithm. We talked about how I should not post off-topic content to my main channel because it confuses the algorithm and generally makes your other videos do worse, which I think is probably true. What if I create a second channel, post a video to the second channel, and then make a community post on the first channel linking to the video on the second channel? See, that's not a video post. Does that work?
That's the standard. Yes, that's the standard way people handle this.
Oh, okay.
Community
So there's
posts
a
have a
chance.
different algorithm than the videos. And they have a different algorithm than the shorts. So all three of them, like if you watch some shorts, it won't change your video algorithms. If you watch some videos, it won't change your shorts algorithms. If you look at some community posts, it won't change your other algorithms. It only changes what community posts you see. For some, I don't know why this is, but it's something I've clearly observed over years of like doing it. You can click on one video and all your videos will change. Like if you move off topic, the algorithm will just change. You have to go, like I go into my watch history and delete the last video so that it fixes my algorithm like immediately, and you can refresh it. It fixes it right away.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. So that's the way to do it. Great. I'll probably not do that either, but do you like coffee? Asks It's Render in it. I do like coffee. I have coffee. I have a cup of coffee almost every morning. I have settled on I've done all the preparation methods. I've done pour over. I've done French press. Currently, and probably for the foreseeable future, I'm doing AeroPress. I think that AeroPress makes the best cup of coffee. I mean, if you're hard into espresso, then you'll say that there's a type of coffee that only an espresso shot can give, right? Because of the increased pressure, the increased temperature, whatever. I guess it's not. Is it increased temperature? No, it must not be. But because of what espresso is, right? But as far as types of coffee you can make just by heating water and pouring water and stirring grounds, I think AeroPress makes a damn fine cup. It is the best way to control the variables that affect the flavor of the coffee. All other methods of coffee preparation, like, for example, pour over. So pour over, it's a real challenge, and they all have their charm, by the way. They all have their charm. I love them all. They all make a good cup of coffee, but pour over, you have problems with channeling. You have problems with the amount of time that the water spends in contact with the grounds. So, like, will the grounds ground too fine? There's this relationship. If you grind the grounds finer, then the water goes through slower, but also you get more extraction because the grounds are ground finer. So the problem is that, like, the variables are interrelated. You change one, you change the other, and finding the right balance is very difficult. French press is an immersion method where the grounds are fully immersed in the water. So you pour the water in, you stir it, and then when you're done, you use the plunger to press the grounds out. French press. It's better. You have more control over the variables because you can set the grind size, you can set the water temperature, you can set the grounds are fully immersed in the water, so you get very even extraction, unlike like a pour over where you can get channeling and some of the grounds don't get as much contact with the water as others. And then you control the steeping, the brewing time, because you press that plunger down and you end the brew. But even then, so French press is like, in that sense, a scientifically superior method of making a cup of coffee compared to pour over. But French press, of course, you have a lot of grit. It's not as clean because you don't have a paper filter. So then some people will pour their freaking French press coffee through a paper filter, and like, I can't be bothered. The beautiful thing about AeroPress is it's like gives you control of the variables, all the variables independently, and then at the end you're going through a paper filter, so you have a really nice clean cup if that's what you're going for. I do sometimes like a nice dirty French press, like a little body to it. Anyway, yes, I do like coffee. Yeah.
I posted in the Discord. Have you ever seen the OXO Rapid Brewer?
No.
If you haven't, you should buy this.
Shut up. Is it just a French press but different? I mean, an AeroPress but different?
No. It's like an AeroPress mixed with a low pressure espresso. So the idea is you make an espresso puck, you press it into an espresso puck, okay, and then you have an air chamber above the water. So you're using the pressure on the top. You're pushing a little plunger, but the little plunger has a release and it can't go over 1 bar. So you just press, and then it slowly pushes the water through the puck, through a paper filter, through the puck, and down at the bottom. So you're essentially getting like an espresso-y thicker pull, but you can't overpressurize it essentially, and you're not doing like a high bar like an espresso. So there's a style of shot people pull out of them called a soup shot, which I'm not big enough in coffee to really like that. It's very like you have to really like coffee flavor. I like milk in my coffee, but it's perfect for me to make an espresso style drink without having to have anything special. You can literally fold this up and put it in a backpack and just pop it out and tap the button on the top a few times. It'll make you a nice little espresso-y drink.
But then you have the problem of puck preparation, right? So like you can screw it up by like, not, do you have to do all the espresso like puck prep with the little whisker thing and then the tamper and the
you could, but the difference is that because like I have a shaker jar and I have WDT, but I don't do either with this because I think that you don't have enough pressure. Like an espresso is like what, 6 to 8 bar. It depends on how you pull an espresso shot, right? You're going from the bottom to the top or whatever, like you're pulling through the range. But with this is only 1 bar, so I don't think you get as bad a channeling if you don't do the shaking and stuff,
Okay.
And I know, like, I follow like creators like Lance Hendrick, and he says like he's just stopped doing the shaker because he doesn't think it actually matters that much.
What's the shaker? Is that the whisker thing?
No, well, it's the same idea as the whisker thing. A shaker is you put it in it's called a blind shaker. You pour it in this little shaker, and then you shake it around, and it does the same thing. It changes where the grounds are. It like moves the grounds from the top to the bottom to reorient them, and then you drop it out of the bottom of the shaker. But
yeah, interesting.
It's very popular.
Interesting.
Right now, it's
All right.
become very popular. But it's really nice because it's on the go. So like I did it with me when I traveled like to Tennessee.
How do you deal with grinding though? Do you carry a hand grinder?
Yeah, I just have a hand grinder.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, Lance Hendrick likes it. Oh man, but I'm not ready to leave the AeroPress behind. I like the AeroPress so much.
You don't have to leave it. It's just a different coffee.
No,
like
because I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna like this better, and then I'm gonna just do this for another 10 years, 2 years, whatever.
I still make pour overs. Like I basically go back and forth between making a pour. Like every morning, I either make a pour over or I make one of these. And I kind of go back and forth because a pour over is like more like a traditional coffee, and this will be more like a latte milk drink sort of thing.
Okay.
That I'm making.
Maybe I'll give it a try. We'll see what James Hoffman says about it. It seems like he bought one 4 months ago, and we'll be making a video about it. Not that your endorsement isn't sufficient. Yeah, maybe I'll check it out. That's cool. Yeah, thank you. So the original question wants to know if I've tried pocket coffee. No. What is pocket coffee? Is it like freeze-dried coffee? Oh, it's a chocolate. Oh, no, I haven't tried it, but yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm down. Chocolate, coffee, what's not to like? My wife thinks that coffee smells like poop. And it turns out she's right. There is a scent compound in coffee that is also in poop. There are many other scent compounds that they don't share. But it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like the cilantro thing where like some people are hypersensitive to the soapy compound that's in cilantro and other people can't taste it at all. I think she doesn't drink coffee. She doesn't like the smell of coffee. And so she'll be sitting in the living room. I'll make a cup of coffee. And like the dog will go out and the dog will come in and she'll be like, did the dog get sprayed by a skunk? And I'm like, no, I just made coffee. And she'll be like, oh, okay, yeah. Anyway. Okay. We're going to do any FPV related questions?
Coffee channel?
Coffee channel, new coffee channel. I like coffee. I like the scientific, variable control, trying to get it. I've got my coffee recipe locked in. I make A solid cup of coffee.
I think coffee is very equivalent, like high-end doing tweaks and doing weird stuff is very equivalent to FPV, talking about special components or needing certain tweaking or doing special tuning. It's very similar. Most people will not notice the difference, like latency.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you think you're going to matter, you're doing all the special stuff, you're trying to pour this certain way, you're changing a couple degrees here, you're moving this, like you probably will not know the difference. There's a few people who will.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing blind triple testing, like, the 2-in-1s, like James Hoffman or somebody does, right? To actually know you're testing a difference, you're probably not.
Yeah.
I know I can't, because I've tested a bunch of different things and like I cannot tell the difference. So I stopped.
Yeah.
Like I used to do the 4-pour, whatever the James Hoffman method was for when he used to do like the V60 method, where he had like a pour and then stop and pour and stop and pour and stop and pour and stop.
Yeah.
Right.
To let it run out. Yeah.
Yeah. I have completely stopped doing that. When I pour V60s, it's 1 pour now. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2 pours. 1 pour. The first pour is 50 grams of water. Just let it. What you call it? I can't think of the word right now. You give it 30 seconds, and then you pour all the rest of the water almost instantly. It's fine. It tastes just the same to me. It's great coffee. That's
but here's the thing. I think about a V60, and I'm like, what are you trying to do when you brew coffee? You want water in contact with the grounds. You want the temperature of the water determines what's extracted, and then the time determines how much is extracted. And then you want to stop the water from being in contact with the grounds. So basically, you want surface contact with the grounds, and you want a certain amount of time. And then temperature is another variable that controls what happens during that time window. And when I think about pour over, I'm like, okay, I basically have a really bad job of controlling the time that it's in contact with the grounds, and a really relatively bad job of controlling how much of it's in contact with the grounds, because you pour it into the bed. And like sometimes the V60 fills up and you get the grounds floating a little bit, but in general, it's just this sort of sandy mush. And I'm like, hey, you know what? You just do an immersion method. And now you have you have perfect contact. You have full control. It just feels like the pour over is inferior to immersion in terms of your ability to control the variables that allow you to get the flavor you want at the end. So like every time I do pour over, I'm like I should just be doing immersion.
I think the argument there would be with immersion, you're letting it sit, so you're not getting the early extractions. Because aren't you supposed to get from like an acidic to basic, and that makes the whole cup, right? So the beginning of the pour is different than the end of the pour, and so you need it moving out of the grounds at that time, or you're like, something like that is what I've heard.
But then you just put more water on, so you're just at a different place in that curve with the rest of the water. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know enough about it. They all have their charm. I mean, they all make a good cup of coffee, but I find that I can, every time I do pour over, especially because I'm out of practice. When I was in practice, it was still a bit of a challenge, but, and then you would something would change and then your shit would just all be fucked up. Whereas it feels like with AeroPress, it's very repeatable and very easy to get the cup you want out the other end. So, all right. Anyway, let's move on. Are there any good 04 1S quads? What? You have more coffee talking? More?
No, I'm sorry. You clicked the other question and then went to this question, so I didn't know if you want to do the one you clicked.
Which question? How do I get back into FPV? Oh, yes. Did I never? I did that. I do that sometimes. I click on a question, I get interrupted, and then I move on. Okay, thank you for catching that. How do I get back into FPV after it becomes stale? It happens to me with most hobbies. That's a tough one, man. If it's lost its luster, you may just be time to accept that it's lost its luster. I go through periods sometimes where the question is, why is it stale? I would say, like, sometimes you maybe you were grinding for a race. And you got really burned out. The race happened. You won the race. You lost the race. I don't know. And now you feel really burned out and you kind of don't want to look at a drone. In that case, the answer is to do something else that's fun. Like, stop making it work. I really think there's 2 reasons people sort of burn out on a hobby. And one is that just sometimes you get disinterested and you move on. I was into welding for a while. I did stick welding, then I got a TIG welder. I did TIG welding for a little bit. I was never very good at it. I had a lot of fun sticking metal to metal. I made some interesting projects. And eventually I was just like, all right, I guess I'm done welding now. I just got done. I sold my stuff and I haven't looked back. I've never really missed it. So maybe that's just happened for you. You know, Look at Schizo FPV. Schizo, he was an FPV pilot, and then he got into the pinball machines. He got started restoring pinball machines and playing. Then he got into freaking big 3D airplanes. So people just go through different things. But the other thing is if you're burned out because you've been grinding, whether that's because you've been grinding for some personal goal, or maybe you've been grinding because you've intermingled work and play. So like you maybe you're one of those people who does drones for work, and maybe that means that when you're done with the day, you don't want to go out and fly. I think the answer is to do something different, to mix it up, to find something that makes it fun. So like just recently, I've been playing Firehawk FPV on Steam. Firehawk FPV. You know that game, Blunty?
I've heard of it.
It's super fun. It's not like I mean, it's still in it's still in development, I'm pretty sure. And it's gotten better and better and better. It used to be really like almost barely a game, and now it's got a little bit more of a game, and I'm sure it's going to keep doing that. But basically, can I get a video? No, can't get a video. You fly around and you fly around, you shoot enemies on the ground. Sometimes there are drones in the air. You pick up, it's kind of got like almost roguelike elements where as you level up, you'll pick different weapons, different upgrades. You'll build your drone, and then eventually you just get blown up and the game's over and you just do it again. It's a fun little game. And I've been playing it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. I've been playing Liftoff micro drones recently. I got my youngest son started playing it. So finally, maybe one of my kids will get into drones. And it was up on the computer. He had walked away, and I picked it up and I did some race. And one of them was this race course in a freaking playground where you have to fly down the spiral slide on the playground. Except I don't know. I can't fly down it. So I figured out that what you need to do is you need to just sit down and slide down it, and then keep going. I don't know if that's the intended method, but I was like super charming to fly. So like I think the other thing you can do is you can just mix it up, get out of the things that are boring you and try different things. But then sometimes it's just time to move on to a new hobby, and I think that one of the best skills we can master in life is to see things as they are. And I think we spend a lot of time and effort and energy in our lives not accepting the reality of things. And so like you think about a relationship where you break up with a person, and as soon as you break up, you realize you should have done it a year ago, but you like obviously, it's hard to know when that time is. But you just couldn't accept that the relationship was over, or something like that. You quit your job, and as soon as you quit your job, you're like, oh God, I feel a great weight is lifted. Everything's going to be fine. Why did I wait so long? So like, if truly you're just done with the hobby, then don't stress about it. Just go like, okay, that was fun. I'm going to do something else. And maybe you'll come back to it. Like you say, how do I get back into FPV after it's still? Well, why do you want to get back into it? Do you want to? Or do you just kind of feel like, yeah, it was fun. I don't know. I guess I should. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just don't want to accept that something's over. But sometimes you just need to shake it up a little bit. The other thing you can do, get out with other people. I think it's so easy to get bored when you only have yourself to entertain you. But the minute you're hanging out with other people and they're flying and you're flying, suddenly it becomes a lot more interesting. That's easier said than done, though. Blunty, anything to add? Usually have some insights.
I was busy doing chat. But what I think you didn't mention is in chat, he mentioned that he was the guy who asked this original question, said he was trying to make money out of the hobby.
Yeah.
So I think part of the issue can be when you try to monetize something that you do for fun.
Yep.
You really have to find a balance. You have to understand your relationship with that thing is going to change. And that has to be okay with you, or you have to figure out how to balance that as a person. So that can also help with burnout, you know, because a lot of people do hobbies because they're a thing that's not work, right? They're a fun thing they can do to learn a new skill and to figure this thing out. And then you go, oh, well, I'm going to do that for work now. And then you change your relationship because now, you know, it just sort of implants in your mind, right? Like whenever you do that thing, like you're thinking about, oh, I could be making money doing this, or is this part of this changing how my business works, or should I be spending time on the business, or whatever, right? It's just always been my experience with everything I've ever done. Once you monetize it, it changes your relationship with the thing. I think that's just kind of how it goes, right?
For sure. What I find is, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, when FPV was my hobby, what I liked to do was go out and fly. And when FPV became my business, what I like to do is make videos about flying. Or, right, so flying is still in there, but the business becomes the activity. And it's enjoyable in its own way, but then because it's a business and because, you know, you're trying to make money, it's not just pure relaxation. And I think if you make your hobby into your business, I don't see how that hobby can ever be pure relaxation ever again. You're going to need another hobby for pure relaxation, and that's okay. Although sometimes you have these moments where you just like, I'm just going to fly for me, and you do, you know? So, all right. Are there any good 04 1S quads? Would love to have something small to rip around this winter. My go-to in that category is Flywoo. I believe they have some 1S. 1S, 04 wide, tiny drone. The 1.8. Yeah, I'd take the 1.8 over the 1.6. I think the 1.6 is like, it's okay. It's okay, but I'd take the 1.8 first. The larger, the 1.8 inch props. Just a little bit more power than the 1.6. Yeah, so the Firefly, well, those are 2 blades. Whereas the 1.6 is 3 blades. Are they? I don't actually know. No, it's bigger. Is it the same motor? Huh. I would look hard at this. I haven't flown this exact one. But these historically have been very good. The Flywoo Fireflies were very good with the DJI system, with the walk snail system, and with analog. I think I would feel very comfortable spending a few bucks on picking up one of these if I was looking for a 1S 04 quadcopter. We got a couple more super chats that have come in. What GPS for a 5-inch, the Goku GM10 Nano, Mini, or Pro? Thank you, the Fat Legend, for $2 super chat. The Flywoo Goku GPS, I have actually made a video about them back when M10 GPSs first came out. All of them are fine. Presumably, the bigger antenna is going to give you better reception. Although I've used the Mini and gotten like 25 sats on it. So, I mean, what do you want? The other question would be whether you need a compass. And you don't want to look carefully at which one of them does and doesn't have a compass. But the difference between the Pro, like, let's just look at the specs. Are there differences in the specs? Like, does one have an amplifier? You know? Stop with the pop-ups. Where's a comparison matrix? Yeah, I thought they would have a comparison matrix here. Oh, it's recommended by influencers. Well, oh, hey, it's me. I'm an influencer. Wow. Comparison. Okay, here's what I want. The comparison chart. Yes. So you're looking, let's see. We've got the Mini, the Nano, The Nano GPS and GPS with compass. I'm shocked they've got the Nano with compass. That's amazing. Pro with and without compass. Mini with compass, mini without. Pro only comes with compass. So any of these come with or without compass. The Pro only comes with compass. Assuming you're doing a 5-inch, you're not too concerned about the size. Like the Pro is, so the Pro is 1 inch by 1 inch, roughly 25 millimeters. That's a little bit big. The Pro, that's going to be wider than the standoffs on a lot of 5 inches. So you might not go with the Pro. You might go with the Mini, which is 18 millimeters. That's going to fit within the standoffs of most 5-inch drones. They all have pretty much the same performance. Yeah, they all have the same receiving format, the same default protocol, 72 channel, 1 hertz to 10 hertz, default 10 hertz. That's all the same. It doesn't say anything about like whether one has an amplifier or one doesn't. It seems like they're basically the same. Sensitivity, minus 162 dBm. So let's look at one of the other ones. Let's look at the Mini and see if it has similar sensitivity. Or if that's a spec we can find that's different between them. Sensitivity. No, look, it's the same. So looking at the Mini and the Pro, they're identical. Why the difference between them? Why? What's the difference? I mean, they have the identical sensitivity. There has to be a difference, right? I don't know, man. Easier to mount. I would probably go with the Mini. You know, because the Mini is, I mean, I guess the Pro is going to be a little easier to solder to. Like, why is it a Pro? It's only $2 more. Just based on size, I would probably go with the Mini. 150 millimeter cable. 100 mil. Okay, with a Pro, you get a 50 millimeter long cable. That's nice. Yeah. It's all the same. It's literally all the same. There's got to be something we're missing. I don't know what it is. I'd probably go with the Mini just based on size. There you go. What's the point of the Pro? I don't know. It's got a bigger antenna, but the sensitivity... Maybe this... You know what? I got it. I can't prove this. 4-wire versus 6-wire is just because one has a compass and one doesn't. The Mini also comes with a compass. I just happened to be looking at the one that didn't have a compass. That is not the difference. The Mini also comes with a compass. I just wasn't looking at that product page. I'll bet that sensitivity number is the chipset sensitivity. But that the Pro, having a bigger antenna, will do better at pulling in signal. And the Mini having a smaller... Like, in general, in the RF world, if you have a bigger antenna, you get more sensitivity, right? I don't know. That's my theory. But the Mini is fine. Thank you, eCast23 Offroad, for a $5 super chat. Let's see. There's no question anywhere in the chat. We're just going to assume that's a donation. Thank you for the donation. Can you look at Weber Workshop's Bird Brewer? Thank you for a $2 super chat. Madtown Joe. Well, I wasn't going to talk about coffee anymore, but if someone super chats, I'm kind of obligated to at least take a look. Okay, well, I see that it's $360, and I'm out. I'm out. I'm not paying $360 for a coffee brewer. I will still look at it and think about how cool it would be. I will never buy this. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. Also, something's wacky with the website where I can't really see the whole thing. It looks like a French press. It's not, though. The Bird Travel Sleeve. Never settle for hotel coffee again. I don't know if I'm putting this in a carry-on. And I still have the problem of ground coffee. I guess I need to get a hand grinder. See the bird in action. Okay, let's see it in action. No sounds, please. Okay, paper filters. I like that. I didn't talk about this before. I prefer paper filters. Paper filters filter out a compound that can raise cholesterol. And I mean, if I really cared about my cholesterol, I would be eating a much different diet. But I also prefer the cleaner finish of paper filter. So I like the fact that it's got a paper filter. Okay, we got a little screw plunger. It's got a plunger, but we pour the grounds in. The water is going around the outside? No. Okay, so this feels like a French press. Oh, I see. So now we are, I mean, we're agitating it, but like I can just put a spoon in there and go ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. That's a cool way of agitating it, but it's not doing anything that I fundamentally can't do. Now we make a fire? I don't think this is part of the brewing process, is it? So we basically have an immersion brew with a built-in agitator and a metal filter. Oh, I see. It pulls the grounds up. Okay, here's the kicker. With a French press, when you press the plunger down, the grounds are still in contact with the water, and so it can still continue. I mean, they're not floating in the water, but they're still touching the water, and you can get a change in the flavor after if you let it sit for too long. So what this has done is it has lifted the grounds up out of the water. So it's basically like French press, but like I can also just pour the coffee into a carafe. Okay. So this is just French press for $300 with a built-in stirrer that goes, which is kind of cool. And then instead of pouring the coffee out of the French press into a carafe, it has a complicated mechanism to remove the grounds. This is just no. I mean, that's cool. You got me there. I do like that. How it goes down the end. What this is it is a $300 sculpture and fidget toy that just so happens to make French press coffee, basically. I'm not mad at it. If it was a $300 French press, I'd be mad at it. But they've got enough little fidget toy cool stuff that I am in, but I'm not going to buy one. There's no world in which I buy one. That's cute. Oh, now we see why he made the fire. So he could go sit next to the fire while he drank his coffee. Except that's a different fire. Like, see, look, he's just getting the fire going. Here's all the kindling and stuff. And now here he's got one big fat log in there. So it's been like 45 minutes. Coffee took like 45 minutes to make is what I'm hearing. We got a big continuity problem here. Okay. That's what I think. Thank you for the donation. Hey, JB, I fly with Cobra X goggles. This question's from EMK4232. Thank you for 5 Swiss francs. I fly with Cobra X goggles. I hesitate buying my first AR glasses. What would I need to use AR glasses with an analog quad? Don't do it. Don't. To use AR glasses with a digital quad, you run it into the HDMI input. And I do know of people who fly FPV with AR glasses or VR glasses and feel like they get an acceptable experience. The problem is, depending on the glasses, the HDMI input can have significant latency. It's going to be a little bit better with AR glasses, which generally are intended to be a display, versus VR goggles, which are intended to be an image sort of processing engine. And yes, VR goggles have to have low latency or you get nausea, but the HDMI input on the VR goggles to just use them as a display is typically not optimized for low latency. That's with my understanding. But AR goggles, they can do an okay job of displaying an FPV feed with acceptable latency, although not class-leading latency. But that's for digital with HDMI. If you are going to do analog, you will need something to run the analog feed into the goggles. And usually AR goggles will not have a CVBS input. They won't have an analog input. So you'll need to do an HDMI conversion, and those analog to HDMI converters are terrible. The only good one that exists today is the HD0 system. HD0 screen, HD0 goggles have the best analog. They have great analog receivers built into them, and then they have a fantastic analog to HDMI converter. It's very low latency, and it doesn't go black screen when the signal gets weak. It shows static, whereas most analog to HDMI converters won't show static. They just go black screen or blue screen or whatever. They stop displaying the static. So if you really did want to do that, what you would do is you would buy the HD0 box goggle or the HD0 monitor, and you would just use that as a receiver and feed it into your goggles. But at that point, you might as well just use that instead. So. Coconut, pineapple coconut. Let's see here. Is there a way to get my VTX power onto my digital goggles? No. So if you are doing... So Betaflight has the ability to show digital VTX stats. If you look in the Betaflight OSD... hang on a second. There we go. No, I don't want to update. If we go to the OSD tab, you can see there is... Here we go. Some of these are specific to digital VTXs, like VTX delay. That's specific to digital goggles. Analog goggles don't report that. Bitrate, that's specific to digital goggles. DVR status, that's specific to digital goggles. Distance, that's something that Walksnail goggles do, is they report the distance. But my experience is that only WTFOS on the DJI goggles 2 actually works with this. That Walksnail and DJI, Betaflight supports these, but the VTX doesn't support this, doesn't report this information. And if somebody out there is like, no, it works with Walksnail, like maybe I've just missed it somehow. Like the fact that it says distance, that's a Walksnail thing. Makes me, but as far as I know, this just isn't going to work. These numbers are just going to be blank or not change because the VTX doesn't talk to the flight controller. The only one I can think of that has ever done it is the V2 goggle rooted running WTFOS. So, let's see here. We have a question on screen from Zurendib123 who says, I have a drone with a 4:3 camera and goggles with a 16:9 aspect ratio. Is there any benefit to changing my camera to 16:9? My goggles don't have black bars on screen. So if you have a widescreen goggle with a 4:3 camera and you don't have black bars on screen, what that means is that the goggle is stretching the image. This is really bad. What happens in my experience when I've done that, so the SkyZone goggles, the SkyZone, oh crap, I don't remember which one it is. It's a SkyZone goggle. I think it's the 030. It has a widescreen and it comes set to widescreen, 16:9 by default. If you feed a 4:3 camera into that, the image is stretched. And so stuff kind of looks, people look fat, right? But the problem is that when the drone rotates, when you're right side up, there'll be a wide door and you'll bank to the left to fly through the door. And as you rotate, the door goes from being wide to being skinny because the door goes from being right side up to being sideways, right? And so I find it really difficult to fly like this. that every time I roll, things go from being wide to skinny as they rotate. I find it really difficult. So I would always want the goggle to match the camera, if at all possible. Now that could mean you have a widescreen goggle with a 4:3 letterboxed image. Technically it's pillar box, not letterbox, but whatever. Or in your case, if the goggle is not configurable, I'm going to guess that the VR03 goggle is not configurable. It's just set to widescreen. In that case, I would absolutely set the camera to widescreen. Now that's going to change your aspect ratio. Basically, when you go from a 4:3 camera to widescreen, usually it's going to cut the top of the and bottom of the image off. And that means you're going to get less field of view. I said aspect ratio earlier. You're going to get less field of view, but I really hate it when the image is stretched because the aspect ratio of the camera and the display don't match. You ever seen a skinny person drink Diet Coke? That's... Okay, first of all, that's going to go over real good down at the Funny Farm, right? I ever seen a skinny person drink? Yeah, lots of skinny people drink Diet Coke. Lots of people drink Diet Coke. It's all about changing or not changing your metabolism. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right that weight gain and weight loss has a lot to do with your metabolism. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to change my metabolism. I don't know. How do you change your metabolism? Oh, there's a supplement. I see. You're going to sell me a supplement, aren't you? It's like, that's like saying, becoming a doctor, it's not, people just, all you got to do is get your medical degree and go through your residency, right? This guy thinks being a doctor is hard. Just change your metabolism. Right. Okay. Yeah. And all we have to do to achieve nuclear fusion is contain the nuclear reactor in a magnetic field. Easy. No, these things aren't easy. Yeah. I don't know about all the there's an argument that drinking diet soda actually makes your body want to consume more calories or slows your metabolism down. That basically drinking diet soda is a net negative. You'd be better to drink sugared soda, and then your body will be like, oh, I just got some calories, and then you'll feel less hungrier. I don't know if that argument. I've heard that, So setting that aside because I don't know, if your argument is that you should change your metabolism or you should change your caloric intake, it's probably better to not have the extra 500 calories a day of sugar that you're getting from regular soda. But no, just switching to Diet Coke isn't going to make the difference between being skinny or being fat. Not that it's any of our business.
I'll just say, objectively, I went on keto. I used to weigh 265. I went on keto. I stopped any sugar for 8 months. I lost a bunch of weight. Then I went back to eating exactly like I was, except I was now drinking diet soda because I didn't care about sugar anymore. Now, if I eat whatever I want, my weight is maintained at 235, no matter what I eat, instead of 265, because I'm not consuming calories through sugar when I drink it, only when I eat it.
That's enough of a deficit.
It literally made the difference for me of 30 pounds. If I don't know why, I can't tell you why. It's cravings or whatever, but that does make a difference in specific situations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I felt like it was the sugar. Now, obviously, again, I'm not I can't have too much sugar, or I eat a normal diet. But to me, the flavor of the soda wasn't really worth it. To me, I enjoy drinking a Diet Coke with a meal. You get the carbonation, you get the acidity. I kind of like that Diet Coke has an increased acidity compared to regular Coke. I like that sharper flavor instead of the sweeter flavor of the regular Coke. But what really made me drink Diet Coke is if I'm at a meal and I'm I don't think I want a water today. I'm going to get a Coke. I like maybe I want a little bit of caffeine, or the food I'm going to have will taste good with it. The extra sugar, it's going to fill me up. It's going to make me feel kind of bloated and feel like crap because I'm just chugging sugar like so much sugar as I'm eating the meal. Whereas if I'm drinking a Diet Coke, I'm still getting the acid and the carbonation and the flavor, but I'm not like filling up on sugar. And so for me, it was at least a little bit about, well, sure. Also, I ate a 1,400 calorie burrito, but I didn't have 300 extra calories of sugar. So like, okay. But also, it was about the sugar for me. Anyway, eat whatever you want to eat. Like if you like to drink Coke, drink Coke. If you like to drink Diet Coke, that's your business. And it's nobody's freaking business how fat or not fat you are. Absolutely nobody's business. That's what I would say. Like, the thing is, we're all fighting our own battles, right? For some of us, the battle is our job. For some of us, the battle is a chronic illness. For some of us, the battle is our relationship with our parent. We all have just these battles we're fighting on a day-to-day basis, right? And it's unless you know me well enough that you're here to help and here to support me in whatever battle I'm fighting, just fight your own battles and don't worry about mine. For some of us, the battle is our weight. And for some of us, we're just fat and we're not battling it. We just don't give a fuck and we're just living our life and we're fat and that's it. And it's nobody's business, So if I see a fat person drinking a Diet Coke, I'm like, cool, that person likes Diet Coke. And if they're trying to lose weight and it comes up, I'll be like, good for you, dude. I support you. And if they're like, hey, I'm going to have a giant piece of cake and I'm going to be fat and I don't care, I'm like, good for you, dude. You enjoy your fucking cake. It's none of my business. And I hope that you will also remember that it's none of your business when I do whatever I do that you feel like judging. Because anytime you're looking at other people and you're being judgmental, it reflects a insecurity and a weakness in you. And I say that as that's an observation of myself. And then I look at other people and I see that it's true for them too. But I don't want you to think I'm pointing a finger. Every time you point a finger at somebody else and you're like, ha, that guy is whatever. It's because you're insecure about being that thing, and so you're taking it out on them. So just keep that inside yourself and deal with it. Talk to your therapist about it, Anyway. Just because I watched the video yesterday, what RM watch would you recommend? What Radiomaster watch? What Radiomaster? Is that a joke? The Radiomaster TX16S Mark III would be great. Yeah. I mean, it would be. I don't think they're going to make it, though. Congrats, 73FPV. 73FPV says, I've smoked for 37 years, 38 years, and have had enough 8 packs a day, or what's the @ sign? 2 packs a day? All to stop. Saved $700 last month alone. Congrats, man. Good luck. Good for you. Good on you. My Radiomaster Pocket is not connecting with iOS devices like my iPad and my iPhone. I'm going to guess that you're trying to plug the Pocket in and use it as a game controller. Apple, you can't connect unapproved devices to Apple devices. You can't do it. You can do it with Bluetooth, but not through the Lightning port or the USB port. That's an Apple thing. Talk to Apple. Let's see here. Got one here from Leet Plans. Thank you for being a patron and on the Discord server. Bossman, hey Josh, Bossman Bardwell, can you break down the real-world differences between SteadyView 3.3 and running analog on the HD0 Goggles V1 with the SpeedyB analog module? I keep hearing people say that the SpeedyB module outperforms the SkyZone with SteadyView 3.3. Is that legit? And why would that be the case? I don't know if that's the case. I haven't done a side-by-side test of the SpeedyB module or the SteadyView. It's been years since I went out and did analog module testing to see which was better. I will say that these days, TBS Fusion, Immersion RC Rapid Fire, SkyZone, SteadyView, and the SpeedyView module all are doing basically the same thing. So the SteadyView, Fusion, that technology where they do sync reconstruction and frame combining, they're all doing that. Some may be doing it better than others, though. I'm not saying that they perform the same. I do know that the SkyZone goggles and the SkyZone module specifically has had issues in the past where the screen would like turn black and roll. And SkyZone has done things to try to fix this, but it still happens. So I think that, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that SkyZone has issues where it's still pretty good. But I wouldn't be surprised to learn that like Fusion was better than it. I don't know a lot about SteadyView module. The SpeedyBee, the SpeedyBee module. I don't know. I have never used that, so I can't speak to its performance. Let's see. I'm so glad Super Max got her Moz 7 up in the sky. Will you ever design your own 65-75mm whoop? Nope. Nope, definitely not. There are people out there who are way better than that than me, and it's just not something I have a lot of passion for. I will enjoy flying the whoops that other people designed. I have no interest in doing that. What is PID tuning and should I mess with it? I'm coming from the prosumer drone side and I'm fairly new to FPV. You should not mess with it. Do not mess with it. And when you're coming, when you're new to FPV drones, it'd be like saying, "Hey, I just bought a brand new sports car. Do you think I should start messing with the suspension?" Probably not. You should probably just drive it how the manufacturer intended it to be. And maybe, if you're already like an expert race car mechanic, then yeah, sure, you might buy a car and the very first thing you do is you start tweaking the suspension. But you're not, right? You're new to this. So you should probably just get yourself comfortable and find out how they fly when they fly from the quote unquote manufacturer. That's the default PIDs. PIDs are the algorithm that the flight controller uses to try to make the drone do what it's commanded to do, right? So like you could imagine a person who is drunk and they're driving a car and they're super, like the car is going off the left side of the lane and they're super delayed and the car's like all over the road, right? Or you could imagine someone who is like hyper over caffeinated, and so the car is like on the middle of in the middle of the lane, and as soon as the car drifts slightly off the middle of the lane, they jerk the car back, and now they jerked the car too far, and now the car is way off on the right side of the lane, and they jerk it back, and they're having trouble keeping the car in the center of the lane because they're so overreacting to every little move, right? This is an example of PIDs. Like that person trying to keep the car in the center of the lane, and one of them is like super slow and sluggish, and one of them is like hyper overreacting. These are analogies for when the PIDs don't work right. The quadcopter is trying to do what it's being told to do. Rotate, not rotate. Pitch back, pitch forward, roll left, roll right, etc. And when the PIDs are working correctly, it does exactly what you're telling it to do and nothing else. And when the PIDs are not tuned correctly, it can like when you punch the throttle, it can kind of go, when you punch the throttle, the drone should go straight up, right? It shouldn't pitch forward. Okay? Well, if the PIDs are not quite right, when you punch the throttle real hard, sometimes the drone will pitch forward, and then when you drop the throttle, it'll pitch back, and you'll get a little like movement on the pitch axis as you punch and cut the throttle. Well, that's a PID tuning thing that should be fixed. As you go through a sharp turn, sometimes instead of smoothly going through the turn, the quad will get into what's called prop wash, and it'll kind of go, and it'll kind of wobble real bad, okay? That's a thing that PID tuning can fix. All of these things you shouldn't be worrying about. You're much more likely to make things worse than you are to make things better. Just learn to fly the drone. Here's one from Coulter33, also a patron, also in the Discord server. Thank you, Coulter. What's the best way to charge your batteries in the field? The best way to charge your batteries in the field is just to bring more batteries. Most of the time, for every $1 that you put into a field charging setup, you would be better off just to buy more batteries and charge them at home before you went to the field. And you will get more flight time. The idea of charging in the field is you want more flight time. Instead of bringing 5 batteries, bring 15 batteries, and now you'll have more flight time. And you won't have to deal with carrying a field charging setup. Okay. The most cost-effective way to field charge in the field is with a little generator. You can get these little 800 to 1,000 watt gas generators from Harbor Freight. They're $200. Maybe they're probably more than that these days. They used to be $200. Let's look. Oh, Harbor Freight. I'm assuming you're in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., you don't have Harbor Freight, and you don't know what you're missing. Come on. Shop. I just want to search for a product. Generators. There we go. Generators. Generators. Outdoor recreation. That seems right. The website is being slow. No, are we not going to website? Let's see. Under 3,000 starting watts. Open frame generators under 3,000. Inverter generators under 3,000 watts. I can't. How about this one? No. What if I add to cart? What if I choose options? Add 2,000 watt? No, that's too much. Let me look for just an 800 watt generator. Oh, here you go. 2,300 watts for $200 on AliExpress. That's amazing. $250 for Lowe's. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. That's surprisingly 800 watt generator, Gen Max, ultra lightweight. Come on. Where's the little teeny one? 1,600 watts. Do they not make the little teeny one anymore? Huh. Here we go. Here you go. Now we're talking. Yeah, that's not going to last long. Yeah, so what I would do if you want the best dollar per watt is you're going to spend $200-ish for a very small portable generator. That's not a generator. Something like this. You can you used to be able to get them down in the 800 to 1,000 watts and a sub $200. And that thing, you'll put a gallon of gas in it, maybe less than a gallon of gas. It'll charge all day. They're loud. You're not going to want to put it next to anybody, but that's good money. The next thing up is to do something like a Jackery or a Blue Eddy, one of these power banks, an Anker power bank. They're so expensive. They're delightful. I have one. I did a review of an Anker power bank some time back, and I did it mostly because I wanted the power bank. It was like a $1,000 power bank, and I love it. I would probably never have spent $1,000 on it though. It's way too much money. You charge a lot of batteries off it. As far as I'm gonna buy a 20,000 milliamp hour 6S and charge don't do that. Just buy more flight packs all day long. Buy more flight packs. Okay. Here's who should not just buy more flight packs. If you have a bunch of different drones that take a bunch of different batteries and you don't know which one you're going to want to charge, maybe it makes sense to buy a 20,000 milliamp hour lithium ion pack and field charge off of it. But for most people, I don't think that makes sense. The other thing I want to show you, lithium iron phosphate batteries are really cost effective nowadays. Here is a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate for $150, $200. These things, you can get a pretty decent dollars per watt hour, and they're really not heavy. They're really compared to a lead acid battery. So you might find a good value in getting something like this. Yeah, okay. That's my advice. What if I have a bunch of spare 18650s? Yeah, sure. Build a pack out of them. Sure. Was the question about RM Watch asking about Richard Mille? I don't know. Somebody said I looked like the kind of person who would wear a Richard Mille watch, and I think he was trying to insult me. Jackery with solar panels. No. Jackery with solar panels, a complete waste of time. Here's why. Those solar panels cannot charge the Jackery fast enough to keep up with your drone, in my humble opinion. Unless you got a shitload of solar panels. You know, so like, let's just do some back of the napkin math. The solar panel might be a 400 watt solar panel. That's a pretty generous solar panel. So a typical 5S battery is 23 watt hours. So 23 into 400 is 0.05 times 60. 3.45 minutes. Back of the napkin math. That's if you were getting the full 400 watts. Does that mean you could charge? Does that mean you could charge that battery in 4 minutes? I guess the math works out. You're not going to be getting 400 full watts, but maybe I'm wrong about the solar panel being able to keep up. How big is the Jackery solar panel? 200 watts. Okay, so 200 watts still. If the solar panel is making 200 watts, you could, I mean, they're going to have some losses, but you could, if the solar panel is making 200 watts, you could charge a pack in a reasonable amount of time compared to how long it takes you to fly the pack. Maybe it can keep up after all. I take it back. You got to be able to admit when you were wrong. I think I might have been wrong. All right. We got a bunch of super chats stacking up. Let's get these super chats. Knott's 10th, thank you for a $5 super chat. I want to build a 3.5 inch 6S Cinewhoop. The frame I have has mounting for a 25 by 25 board. Staying with analog, what's the best? Either stack or AIO for this. For a Cinewhoop, AIO all the way. And if it has 25 by 25 mounting, there's no stacks that are 25 by 25 anyway. The 25 by 25 mounting is for an all-in-one. That frame is made for an all-in-one. You probably can't put a stack on there without doing some crazy shenanigans with adapters and stuff. Yeah. The question is how long it takes the solar panel to charge the battery up. Nobody disputes that you can charge a big battery with a solar panel. It just takes a few hours. Whereas when you're flying, you're running them down rapidly. So my question was just how fast the solar panel could charge the battery to keep up to ultimately, I mean, it's charging the battery in the power bank, which is then going through an inverter, which is then going through the charger, which is then charging your LiPos. There's a lot of losses in there. But, I mean, if you have a 200-watt panel and if it's a reasonably sunny day, it seems plausible that you could recover enough energy to charge a flight pack in 10 or 15 minutes. And so, like, that's not useless. What is the best either stack or AIO for this? Oh, I see. You're not asking me whether you should go with a stack or AIO. You're asking for the best one. For a Cinewhoop, what, like, like, I would probably look at the Gep RC Flywoo Goku. Gep RC Cinewhoops are pretty good. The Gep RC Taker is their budget line, so that would probably be high on my list. Check out the Gep RC Taker. Then there's the Flywoo Goku. I'm sorry, Flywoo Goku. Yes, Flywoo is the other one I would look at. The Gep RC Taker. What's Flywoo? Do they have a budget AIO? They have the Goku. The Goku's expensive as crap, though. Nah, the Goku's really expensive. How cheap do they get? 65? Ugh. 60? We're getting down there. Here we go. Goku GN7. Is that still available? Oh, clearance sale. 40 amp. 40 amps is plenty for that Cinewhoop. But like Gep RC Taker, 45 amp, 8-bit ESC, 6S input. That's probably something like I would go for. Thank you for $2, Mike Julio. And I'm not going to say what it was for because I don't want to get community strike. Woonex K5V, thank you for a $10 super chat. Beta FPV Pavo Pico 2 or Pavo 2.0 for a small park flyer. I'll always take the 2-inch over the Pico if I'm flying outdoors. How much difference the 2218 versus the 45 millimeter prop matters? It matters. It totally matters. The Pico is okay, especially if it's, the Pico is, no, you're going digital because the Pico doesn't come analog, does it? For digital, I would take the 2.0 for sure. Pabs06 asks, longtime fan, recently back into the hobby. Welcome back. G3s on race mode are blowing me away. Yeah, race mode on the G3 got released, and I feel like it didn't get as much love as it kind of deserved. Race mode is pretty freaking good in terms of latency. Yeah, agree. Fully agree. Thank you for the donation. Deep Breaths, 5340. No, we did not miss your question, friend. I do miss questions sometimes, but I didn't miss yours. Deep Breaths says, returning to FPV after about 10 years. Only still own my old Jumper T-Pro. Looking for the cheapest way to get in the air again. Any ideas? Thank you for $5, Deep Breaths. Cheapest way to get into the air again? 65 millimeter whoop style quadcopter. Analog, definitely analog. That T-Pro is, it's not Express LRS, is it? Is it after 10 years? Well, yeah, no. Hey, you gotta get a radio that can do Express LRS. All that Free Sky stuff, nah, it's not. That's not it. So that's the thing. Radio Master Pocket, really inexpensive transmitter. Whoop quadcopter, like the Happy model. Newbie drone is a good one. Can the T-Pro take a module? Maybe. Jumper T-Pro. I think they had a module adapter for it. I don't think it could take a module from the factory. No, it had a weird. It had its own format for the built-in module. I don't think it has a light module bay. A standard module bay. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm looking at pictures right now. The T-Pro, wait a minute. The T-Pro isn't 10 years old, though. There's a chance the T-Pro already has Express LRS. I'm pretty sure the T-Pro came with Express LRS as one of its options. In fact, I think it was one of the first radios to have 900 megahertz Express LRS available as an option. So, if that T-Pro has Express LRS, keep using it. If not, think about a Radio Master Pocket and an inexpensive Whoop, maybe something used. Capital C, thank you for a $10 super chat. I'm trying to access my SpeedyBee flight controller via Bluetooth. My Android phone recognizes the Bluetooth from the flight controller but will not pair. It says I need an app. I have the app on the latest firmware. What am I missing? I don't know, Capital C. I'm really sorry. In my experience, are you using the SpeedyBee app? So here's the thing. You don't pair it. No. I see what you're doing wrong. Don't pair it. Is this a SpeedyBee flight controller? It is. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can literally demonstrate this right now. I got to lower this camera down. We're going to bring the overhead cam into the mix. I got to turn the camera on. I got to plug in the HDMI. And I got to get my phone. So you don't pair it. Okay. Okay. Are we gonna work? Okay. Let me go to the overhead camera. So here's the SpeedyBee app. Here's my flight controller. I'm going to plug it in, right? And what do? Let me zoom out here real quick so you can see the whole screen. Plus, searching for devices. Allow SpeedyBee. Allow. Searching for devices. Found it. Connect. That's it. You don't pair, you don't bind, you don't go to the Bluetooth here and you don't do anything there. You just bonk. Connect. Connecting. Set a password. Oh, la-di-da. Okay, I have agreed. Confirm. Done. There you go. Connected. That's all you do. That's why it's not working. That's the app. You need to use the SpeedyBee app. Oh, I feel good about that one. I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, wait a minute. I understand. Just open the app. Yeah, easy peasy. Hey, JB. It's the peso guy. Thank you for 250 pesos. Chilean pesos, if I recall correctly. Could be wrong. Black Guns, thank you for the donation. I just finished my custom Pavo 2.0 Pro F722 AIO 1404 3850 kV and Avatar Pro. Use it with 4S batteries. What would be the best thing to change about the build? Well, not the flight controller. 1404 3850 kV and Avatar Pro. Oh, I don't know. Why? Don't change anything. Enjoy it. And then start putting that money into parts for a new build. You got a good, solid build there. Listen, anytime you guys think about tweaking an existing build, sometimes it makes sense. If you just put different motors on it, it'll be so much better. And it's cheaper to buy new motors than it is to build a whole new quad. But it's not that much cheaper, right? By the time, maybe you're going to put a higher powered VTX on it. Okay, that's a reasonable upgrade. Maybe you're going to swap a different camera in. Maybe that's a reasonable upgrade. And that other camera, you'll still be able to use it on another build. But most of the time, that seems like a pretty solid build. I'm 2-inch 3850. So just start saving money to build another one. Right? That's what I would do. How soft should the TPU camera mount be to prevent IMU resonance on the 04 light? I can't give you a shore hardness for that. Most people printing TPU are using Shore 98, I believe. Hang on. Sane Smart TPU is, I believe, it's 95. Okay, it's 95A. So Sane Smart TPU is 95A, and that's what a lot of people are using, so I'm guessing. But the thing is, there's a lot more to do with how you design the mount that affects how the vibrations get to the 04. But I would be using 95A TPU. That's what everyone else is using. I mostly agree with Unreality FPV here, who says, I've used soft, I've used hard, it hardly matters. The design of the mount matters way more than the specific shore hardness of the TPU. Fully agree. The how do I make this better questions are always the wrong approach. The question should be, what problem am I trying to solve? So as long as your build, like if you had said that you had, 2,000 kV motors, I'd be like, oh, those motors are way too low kV. But as long as there's nothing like ridiculously wrong with your build, the question is, what don't you like about it that you're trying to change? And I could tell you what to change about it to fix that. But if you're just saying, what should I change? Don't change anything. Build a new one. Build a different one. Thank you, Michael Jordan, for your donation. It's a $10, and if you were anyone other than Michael Jordan, the famous basketball player, I would say that was a generous donation. But sir, I think we all know you're doing pretty well for yourself. Oh, you're not that Michael Jordan. Got it. Michael Jordan says, I upgraded my basic remote to a Radiomaster TX15 and noticed it's way less responsive. I didn't change my pins or touch the flight controller. Can you explain? Nope. What remote did you have before?
I have a theory. My theory is that you went from a basic Express LRS remote to a TX15 Express LRS, and you didn't set the same packet rate you had before.
Ooh, that's
the packet
good.
Rate doesn't follow the receiver, the packet rate follows the radio. So the other thing to know is that also for instance, if you set the same packet rate, if you didn't set the same packet rate, you also don't have the same preset for packet rate. So like maybe you had a 50 hertz, the basic preset, or maybe you set a 500 hertz preset and now you're on 50. So it's even worse because it's expecting a different update rate and refresh rate.
So make sure your packet rate. That's good.
And then make sure you set the preset for the packet rate in Betaflight if you didn't. But if it's the same one you had before, you shouldn't need to change anything, obviously.
And make sure you've got, I was going to go to ADC filter. Make sure ADC filter is off. Although I don't think that adds a ton of latency, but it adds a little bit. Oh, I've stunned him into silence. Okay, great answer. Great answer. Thank you, Plenty. Grease Boy, thank you for $5 Australian. I'm new to FPV and into freestyle and bando flying. Is DJI the best video system for that overall? And yes, I live in Australia. Yeah, I could tell by your accent. For freestyle bando flying, DJI gives the best image quality, the best range, and the best penetration, hands down. It is not the best when it comes to latency. Now, some people would say that overall that means it's the best. Other people would say that latency is the most important thing, especially when you're flying quickly through tight environments like a bando, and they would rather have a very low latency link and not be able to go as deep into the building than be able to penetrate deep into the building but have like higher latency that makes it feel less responsive and connected. I can't tell you which one of those things you are. I can tell you, though, that statistically, almost everyone I know who flies DJI, who tries DJI, loves it and adjusts to the increased latency and find ways to make it work. Especially with the DJI O4 that now has race mode, which gives a lower latency, still not as low as analog or HD0, and a more consistent latency, but not perfectly consistent. It still has some variability. I would say that if I had to pick one FPV system for freestyle flying, it would 100% be the O4. Cost no issue. Okay, it's also more expensive than analog by a fair whack. But if since you asked about it, I assume you can afford it. When you are like just the image quality, range, penetration, and overall link stability of the DJI system is is so good. And the latency, like if it starts to bother me, I'll switch to racing mode. And now I'll be at 1080p and 20 megabits per second. I believe it is 25, maybe 25. I can't remember. So it's not quite as good image quality, but the latency is much improved, and that is pretty good too. I just feel like it gives you a lot of the things that you want. But it doesn't matter because I'm in the United States and DJI is about to get banned anyway. So I'm all in on analog because I'm just like, fine. I don't want digital FPV anyway. And Walks knows they're like, hey, I'm pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, you just remind me of her. I just can't. I just need some time to get over what I've lost. And then I go slum it with analog. And HC0 is like, Bardwell, you're better than this. You're better than this. I know she's gone. DJI is still out there, and all the Europeans are just like using her. Europeans and they're all got DJI, and she's going out having a good time flying bandos. I know, but don't do this. Don't put you're better than this. You don't need to fly analog. And I'm like, shut up. Analog's pretty good. And analogs, they're like, I'm pretty. I'm pretty. Bardwell likes me. I'm the pretty girl now. And then Walksnail and HC0 just shake their heads and they say, he's just got to go through it. He's just got to go through it, man. We'll be here for you, Brad. That's how I feel about it. Someday I'm going to show up at that bar and Walksnail and HC0 are going to be like, you get it out of your system? You ready? And then my phone's going to ring and it's going to be analog. And they're going to be like, don't answer that. I'm like, no, I'm not going to. Block. And somewhere analog is going to be crying. I was the pretty one for a minute. And then DJI is going to show up and I'm going to dump them all. I'd be like, take me back, baby. I never left you. I always loved you. Analog is the ugly one who you know will take your call late at night when you're feeling like calling someone late at night. That's analog. She'll always be there for you. I need to animate that. If somebody used AI to animate that, like as a cartoon, right? Rick Sanchez, thank you for $5 Canadian. Why does my OSD show 3.5 volts when the battery is actually 4.2 volts? Because it has the wrong cell count, is my guess. So if you go to the power and battery tab, power and battery, and you look, I want you to look over here on the right side and look at how many cells it thinks you have. And my guess is it has the wrong number of cells. And if I could do a little bit of algebra. Can Gemini solve algebraic equations? Let's find out.
Math is hit or miss. I'll say that.
Let's find out. Let's have a little. Let's do a little experiment. No, that's not right. Because I know the math equation I want right now.
Basically, if they haven't built a tool in the back end that actually handles the math properly, you're just going to get a weird LLM answer. And otherwise, it'll actually do the work with some Python script in the background and then give you a real answer.
X times 3.5 equals Y times 4.2. X equals Y minus 1. So what we've described here is that the cell count, X and Y are the cell count, Y is the real cell count, X is the incorrect cell count because Betaflight has misread the number of cells. Does it read the number of cells low or high, Blunty? If the battery's fully charged.
If it's 3.5, it would be high.
Okay, so actually X equals Y plus 1.
Right?
X equals Y plus 1. Let's see if Gemini can solve this equation. I don't think it can. I can solve this equation.
Yeah, see, it's writing code. That's what it does
Good.
now. Like they build
Good.
tools, and then it's actually going to try to solve it.
Oh, fuck yeah! That's the right answer. It's reading wait. Is it reading a 5S battery as a 6S? What is it saying here?
That's what it's saying.
But that would mean he'd plugged in a 5S battery charged to 4.2 volts, and it read it as a 6S. That it seems really unlikely that he has a 5S battery. Nobody has 5S batteries. I'm just thrilled that I set the formula up correctly, and it gave a coherent answer. And I'm also thrilled that Gemini solved the equation correctly. Wow. That's cool.
The introduction of tools has been a big boon to LLMs because there's fundamentally it can't answer math, but once you let it write code to fix it, it actually works pretty well.
So what this is telling me is that you plugged in a 5-cell battery at 4.2 volts. The flight controller mistakenly thought it was a 6-cell battery and then did the math and told you it was 3.5 volts. Because here's the key piece of information. The flight controller only knows the total pack voltage. It does not know the cell count. And so how does it guess the cell count? And the answer is it uses the maximum cell voltage. So if my battery is 4.2 volts per cell and I tell it the maximum cell voltage is 4.1, it's gonna miscalculate the number. It's gonna think that I have a discharged 7S instead of a fully charged 6S. So the bottom line is that you need to check that it has calculated the number of cells correctly. And if it is miscalculating the number of cells, the most common way that happens is you've got this set to 4.20 and you plug in your battery and it's slightly over 4.2 and it misreads it. So just take this up to 4.25 or 4.30. Or if you're using high volt batteries that are charged to 4, which you're not because you told me you were at 4.2. But if you're using high volts, set this to 4.4 because a high volt can go up to 4.35. So yeah, I think this defaults to 4.25 on most versions of Betaflight, and sometimes that's not enough. But that's what I would do. I think that's what's happened. Anyway, that was fun. I'm glad it solved that equation. That was really cool. Yeah. But it's weird because it would mean he'd plugged in a 5S and it was misreading it as a 6S.
Yeah, I mean
that's not impossible, but it's weird.
I mean, also, I don't know. Like when you plug it in, does it say low battery? I mean, obviously it would be warning you, right?
Yeah. I want to see how many cells it thinks it has. What if... Oh, I already closed it. Yeah. Anyway. Some other channels have started rumors that DJI is going to get a pass. Some senators are pushing for it. Just curious if you've heard anything. So I have not heard anything. What other channel was it? Was it Mads Tech? Or was it Drone Camps? Because I have a different opinion of the plausibility of those rumors. Here's the thing. Let's see. Senators push DJI ban. Senators oppose DJI ban. Let's see. What's the search? Oh, yeah. Is it Pilot Institute? It's Pilot Institute, apparently. So,
there are quite a few videos on this, I'll say.
Is there anything to it, though? Because, okay, so a few senators are pushing back against it. The thing is, the ban is law right now. The ban is law.
The claim is the ban is not law. That's the claim. By these senators are claiming the ban is not law because in a Senate version of the bill or something, like in a version of the bill, it did not adopt the specific language of the NDAA that they wrote. That's what they're claiming. So because of the way the wording written into one version of the bill, they have to reconcile the bills to each other still. That has not happened yet. That's what the claim is.
They haven't reconciled the NDAA?
That's the claim is by these senators that there has not been a reconciliation between their wording of the bill and the House wording of the bill, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Something like that. And that NDA specific language is not the same in their version of the bill. And so they believe it should not be banned or something like that. That's what I got out of it.
So, yay. After all, right up against the wire, someone is finally fighting this. Who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows what will happen? What will actually happen is that Trump will do whatever he wants, which is what always happens, right? If he, who is it? Has it got any actual, like, legs? I think the ban is still, I like these, that's cool that these people are doing this, but I don't think there's much to it. Like, Senate strips. How are we still reconciling the 2025 NDAA? That was over a year ago that bill was passed. But no, Biden signed it. What are you talking about reconciliation, Blendy? Biden signed it. No, was it Biden who Trump signed it? Who signed it? I don't know. It was passed. It was signed. How do we have a functioning military if there's no NDAA?
I don't know.
What am I missing? What am I missing?
I don't know.
No, it was passed. "2025 National Defense Authorization Act, 2025 NDAA, HR 5009, 118th Congress, became law. Became law. It is law. I don't know I don't know anything about all this nonsense, but the 2025 NDAA is law. The DJI being added to the entities list, if the audit doesn't occur, is the law of the land. And again, I'm not saying that Trump won't go, nah, I don't think so, because I said so. Or some bullshit reason, and then he won't enforce it, and then someone will sue, and the Supreme Court will go, oh, you can do whatever you want, and then something being law is not. It's in some ways it's just as ironclad as it ever was, and in some ways it's not ironclad, but it's law. I don't know. What is this? What that it's passed. Are we talking about the 2026 NDAA? What date is this? November 2025. I'm so confused. There's no reconciliation. The bill is passed. What am I missing? Someone tell me what I'm missing. How are we arguing about reconciliation? We must be talking about the 2026 NDAA. Because the 2025 NDAA is passed. I'm so confused. Yeah. Chat, you got anything for me? Blunty, has chat got anything? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. How can you push back against a law that was passed? Except by passing a new law or repealing the law. Anyway. Okay, I'll look into that, but it doesn't make sense to me. Pushback in the Senate in its version of the bill, and where Republicans are raising concerns about potential negative impacts, resolve their differences so they can enact it by years. We can't be talking about the same bill. I'm sorry. I think people are confused, or maybe I'm confused. They are working to resolve their differences so they can enact it by year's end. That cannot be the 2025 NDAA. It is already passed. It was passed over a year ago. This has to be the 2026 NDAA, but the DGI ban is in the 2025 NDAA, so this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I don't understand. Unless they're talking about a double super ban that will go into effect in this one. I don't know. I think people are confused. Respectfully, my first take is that people saw this arguing about reconciliation. They mistakenly thought that people were talking about the old NDAA, which already passed, and I don't think that's not the case. So no, I don't think anything has changed. Go ahead.
Would a new NDAA need? I mean, they don't do one every year, right? Is there one every year? I don't know. If there's one every year, then does that mean the language has to make it into the next year's bill to be valid still?
No, because I don't know. I do think they do an NDAA every year. I could be wrong. It's a good question. Yeah, no, it's yearly. It's yearly. Yeah, that's what I thought. If the 2025 NDAA says DGI gets added to the entities list, then if the 2026 NDAA says nothing, DGI stays on the entities list. Like, I don't think... Once DGI is on the entities list, someone has to proactively take them off the entities list. Simply... like what you're proposing, I think, Blunty, is that the 2026 NDAA replaces the 2025. But I don't think... well, I'm talking out my ass, so I should shut up. I'll shut up. But now that I've shut up, I'll say, I think what it does is it says, the 2025 one says, in 2025, here's how we're going to spend our money. And then at the end of 2025, if they don't pass another one, they can't spend any more money. So they pass another one. But then there's other shit that gets put in the NDAA that isn't like, that doesn't expire at the end of the year. It's just like the spending that expires at the end of the year. And so, like, I don't think there's any expiration on DGI being put on the entities list. But even if there was, what would happen is DGI would be put on the entities list, and then you would have to take them off it, because the entities list is not inherently tied to the NDAA. Anyway, no, I don't think these rumors of, I think it's just YouTubers making content that people want to see and misunderstanding how things work. But I'm certainly not an expert on how things work.
I think the issue is the articles say there's something, and they send it like that's the confusing part. Is the articles are talking like, maybe that's the issue, is this is bad sourcing, but the articles specifically say it's to do with the NDAA. Like the
but it's the
DGI ban NDA. Yeah, but it's saying it's talking about the DGI ban in the article that's linked. That's my point. So,
but it doesn't. Maybe someone's confused.
Right, we don't know that for sure. We're assuming someone's confused.
But Blunty,
I don't know enough to know that. I don't know enough to know that.
Blunty, you can't do reconciliation on a passed bill. You reconcile, and then the bill is passed. That's how reconciliation works. Okay, well, what if a unicorn decided to take TGI off the ending? I mean, we could. What if? You don't reconcile. Like, am I insane?
I don't know. Why would I know? I'm claiming I don't know. The government does weird shit all the time. It takes 10 years to make a fucking bill happen sometimes. Why would it be the case that it's magic? I can't guarantee that.
Okay. But I think in the little amount of sort of civics that I've had in my life, in the little amount of trying to understand how the government functions, my understanding is that the Senate passes a bill. The House passes a bill. If there are differences in the bill, they go to reconciliation. After reconciliation, it goes to the president. The president signs the bill. The bill is now law. Reconciliation doesn't happen after a bill is passed. And maybe you're right that there's some weird, but I think that's really far-fetched. So, its render in it says if they never properly reconciled it, there may be a procedure to revisit the language. Maybe. I don't know. We're all just making shit up now. So, all right, let's stop making shit. We'll stop. If anyone actually knows, feel free to speak up. We're all just talking shit. Okay. I got to finish these super chats now. That was very fun. I enjoyed that a lot. I really enjoy being confused in a way that will... I enjoy being confused in a way that will either make me the smartest guy in the room because I was the only one who was right, or I will turn out to have thought I was right but be wrong in a way that I learned something new. And this feels like one of those times when you're looking around and you're going, either I'm about to learn something or you guys are all idiots and I'm going to feel real smart. It's like a win-win. Okay. All right. Yeah, bottom line, I agree with Vero 101. It's getting banned, and this is all copium. Dave Messina says you are confusing continuing reconciliation and conference committees which reconcile Senate and House differences. Oh, it sounds like Dave Messina knows a thing or two.
Why I said, like, I'm not going to assume, because there's some bullshit the government does all the time.
But how? I'm sorry.
Because they probably have to. I mean, here's my guess. No. They have to pass it. They don't have a way to pass it. They have to pass it by a certain date. So they go, hey, the rules are going to be the same. We'll figure it out later. That's my guess. And then they have these meetings like Dave's talking about to figure it out.
Over a year. The military has been operating. How are we still working on a bill that was passed over a year ago? Makes no sense. And we have to pass another one this year. Like, how far behind? I don't know. Okay.
The point is, it was passed, right?
Okay. We got to get the rest of the questions before the end of the stream. We have 3 minutes left. Nobody knows. This is very confusing. If anyone can actually freaking make this make sense, great. But bottom line, I think DJI is still cooked. Is there any reason to try to buy the goggles N3 right now in the US if I don't have any DJI drones? No, the N3 only works with the O4. It doesn't work with anything else. So if you can't get DJI drones, well, okay, sorry. It only works with the DJI O4 FPV air unit. It works with some DJI drones. I don't know which ones. But as far as air units go, it only works with the O4. It doesn't work with the O3, it doesn't work with the Vista. So if you can't get DJI drones, why would you buy the N3, the goggles N3? That's the bottom line. All I do anymore is listen to Bardwell clips and build quads. Thank you for $5 FPV candy. Grease Boy, hey, I'm back. First off, you're the GOAT. Thank you. Second, I'm about to order parts. I was wondering about your experience with which components break the most. Thank you for 10 Australian dollars. Never buy 4 motors. Always buy 5 or 6. You will break motors, and you will need spare motors. And it'll be nice to have one. The other thing that breaks is the camera. The camera is in the front of the drone. You fly the camera into something and smash it. Buy a spare camera. If it's a DJI system, a spare camera can be pretty expensive. You may want to get a lens protector or something like that. Woo! I'll read up more about this thing. That's something. I'm so frustrated. Like the idea that a law that was passed over a year ago is somehow still not settled, that alone upsets me. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then the idea that the law was passed and then, like, somebody's going to be like, nah, you can't make me, and just not do it. And then, like, it just feels like the entire system that, like, I believed that we had a system. I'm just a bill, blah, 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 blah. No. And I'm like, yep, that's how it works. And it turns out it's not at all how it works. It was never how it works. It was all a fairy tale. Go ahead, Bunty.
Yeah. That's the experience I'm pulling from when I say I have no idea. Because I've been working with the government for 10 plus years at various industries. And it's all been bullshit the whole time.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
You're like,
But
how
they
is
used
this
to.
possible?
They
Didn't you
used
have
to.
this date on this document that you federally like said that needs to go this? And they're like, well, actually, the date's changed to this, and you could either do it or we'll leave you out. You know, it's that sort of thing. It's the world we live in, you know, and you have to work around the system. My guess is, from a fundamental level, right? You have to pass a bill for spending for the. You have to pass the NDAA at some point.
But if the bill is passed, how is it still up for debate? It's passed.
Well, clearly it sounds
What
like
did you pass? What did you pass?
The bill at the same time is what I'm saying. So everything that's the same gets applied. Everything that's different doesn't get applied, and they argue over. That's what it sounds like, right? Because you need to pass something, and they can't agree on two versions or one version. I don't know, but if you got to fund the country, the military or whatever, like at some point you got to say, all right, well, we can't argue forever.
You're saying they passed only the parts of the bill that they agreed on? You're proposing that?
I don't know, but that's what that's what I'm pulling from the context that Dave said, right? How else could it work, right? They passed something. We saw that the Senate and the House passed an NDAA, so I can only assume that's the case, right?
I want to be clear. Like, it's not like, oh, this is my eyes are open moment where I've realized that it's all. No. I know that it's never been like the sort of like there've been shenanigans as long as there's been a government, but I feel like the amount of shenanigans is higher today than it has been. That like there was an attempt to at least pretend. You know, it's like it's like here's the analogy. We're gonna go out on this. You're a teenager. You're in your bedroom with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you prefer. You're under the covers. You're pretending not to be doing the thing you're actually doing. Right as, you know, your mom opens the door and says, hey, do you guys want any ice cream? And she's looking at you. And she knows what you're doing. You're looking at her. You're pretty sure she knows. But everybody's just going to be like, yeah, Mom, I like some ice cream. And then she's going to close the door. And you're never going to speak of it again. And you're all going to pretend that what you all knew was happening wasn't happening. And that's how I feel like the government has run up until recently. We all knew what was going on. But then everybody was like, we voted on a bill and we passed a bill. Democracy works. Ooh, let's have elections. You definitely make a difference in the running of the government. It's not all just run by oligarchs and billionaires who just lobby for whatever they want. Nope, it's you, individual voter, who has a say. And we all just pretended. And now it feels like Mom opened the door and was like, you want some ice cream? And we just whipped the blanket off and there for Mom to see. It's like, look, Mom, look what I'm doing. And Mom is like, oh, my baby. And that's how I feel right now. I'm Mom and I'm looking at the government. And I'm like, guys, put the blanket on. I want to pretend. That's how I feel. I always knew. Notice FPV wanted his question answered. Notice FPV, huh? It was a rambling stream. We had coffee. What question? Notice FPV. You've been chatting a lot, Notice FPV. I don't see a question from you. I don't see a question, dude. Anything fun planned for Christmas or a New Year's holiday stream? Nope. Not at all. Just normal family stuff. All right, let's wrap up. Well, we'll see you next weekend. I'll see you next weekend for our normal streams. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Woo! That was a hot one.